and to master these takes 10 months. The all-important ground crews to keep the aircraft in fighting trim. Pilots must have 150 hours under their belts. While the air training scheme is getting underway, there's grave news for the young men of the Royal Air Force. Even while the Norwegian fiasco is underway, German forces start their blitzkrieg against the Low Countries and work their way westward through France. The Luftwaffe continue its blitzkrieg of Paris and mercilessly push the BEF further towards the Channel coastline. On the evening of May the 10th, Winston Churchill becomes the British Prime Minister while the German blitzkrieg carries on. In France, several Hurricane squadrons are lumbered with gun stoppages because they were issued with 30-year-old ammunition from the armourers. Many of the aircraft are still fitted with two-bladed fixed-pitched propellers, which severely restrict their performance. The Fairey battle is known as the Flying Coffin. Designed as a light bomber, it's slow with a top speed of 241 miles an hour. It has no self-sealing tanks and is poorly armed. During the French campaign, in just 3 days, the battles are almost exterminated with 60% losses on each mission, which is an unspeakable waste of valuable air crews. Only 5 days later, the French Premier acknowledges that France has been defeated. Dowding proved to Churchill that it was useless to send any more of his precious fighters to France, as within 2 weeks the losses would be such that the RAF would be left with no Hurricanes at all. Before the final collapse of France, Fighter Command has lost a total of 477 fighters. But more important is the loss of frontline pilots. Aircraft are being replaced, but pilots are a very different matter. It is now obvious that the whole of the BEF will be lost. So the order has come from London to instigate Operation Dynamo, or the evacuation from Dunkirk on the North French coast. This starts on May the 26th. RAF Fighter Command sends squadrons from the south of England to cover the retreat. On June the 18th, the last remnants returned to England with a total loss of 432 Hurricanes, Spitfires and Battles. This is the equivalent of some 20 squadrons. Britain is now isolated and all alone. Across the Channel, the Luftwaffe settles into its new captured bases and airfields. The recent campaigns have cost the Luftwaffe some 1,284 aircraft, mostly to the RAF. So time is spent on regrouping. On June the 18th, Prime Minister Winston Churchill tells a waiting world,
"The Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
And as with fierce air attacks, Germany launched the prelude to the Battle of Britain, world attention was focused upon an ancient office building in London's Whitehall, the Air Ministry, General Headquarters of the RAF. Here, working every hour of every day, is the Air Council, the Air Minister, the Under Secretary of State for Air, the Chief of the Air Staff, Sir Charles Portal.
The ministry is closely guarded 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. It's guarded by members of the RAF regiment who are doing a fine job in protecting the men and women who are in charge of our destiny. Security is paramount. While the guards are changed above, it is the job of the air staff to plan for any possible attacks by Germany's powerful Luftwaffe. Newell meets with Portal and Air Chief Marshals Sir Frederick Bowhill, Sir Richard Pearce, and Sir Hugh Dowding, the Commanders-in-Chief of Coastal, Bomber and Fighter Commands. On RAF airfields throughout the country, fighters are prepared for immediate readiness. In this case, the Hawker Hurricane has its 8 machine guns harmonized in order to deal its deadly blow to the enemy. While behind the scenes, the raw 303 bullets are sorted and inserted into neat gun belts. These are then carefully packed into ammunition boxes before being received by the aircraft. This procedure goes on many hundreds of times a day as our pilots are scrambled to go up and defend our island. Hitler was convinced that Britain would sue for peace after the French rout. He was wrong. So on July the 2nd, German High Command approves a directive for a possible landing operation against England. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe continues to harass any vital shipping in the Channel. The available Luftwaffe aircraft in July 1940 are 944 bombers and 824 fighters, while the RAF can muster 600 serviceable fighters, some of which are outdated Defiants and converted Blenheim 1F fighters. Yes, Britain has a secret weapon. It's called RDF or radar. Now heading Fighter Command, Hugh Dowding saw the potential of RDF or radar stations around the vital approaches to London some years ago.